You're listening to Everyday Ham, casual conversations for the everyday amateur radio enthusiast.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Everyday Ham. I am James, joined by Rory and Jim. Today, we're diving into something a little bit different than our normal Parks on the Air or POTA discussions. We're kind of heading to the mountains to explore Summits on the Air, or SOTA, which for Jim, Rory, and myself is something new. So you'll notice we are joined by two new guests today. We have Matt W7MDN from Spokane, Washington. Matt is both a military and commercial pilot who picked up ham radio during the COVID years, much like myself, and since has combined his love of trail running, mountain biking, and even snowshoeing with the hobby. Earlier this year, Matt reached a major milestone by earning a Mountain Goat Award, which we'll probably learn is a really big deal here shortly.
Okay.
We're also joined by Tim N7KOM from Bend, Oregon. Tim is a mountaineer, skier, and cyclist and shares his adventures with thousands of YouTubers on his YouTube channel. So, Tim, tell me if I get this wrong. It's N7KOM Mountaintop Portable Radio. Hopefully that's correct.
Right.
All right, good.
All right.
You're known for your ultralight setups I saw in some of your bios, summit-to-summit contacts, and a big advocate for SOTA. Also, I confirmed this before we started recording, you also have a Mountain Goat Award that you earned last year at the Oregon campout as well. So thank you, Tim and Matt, for coming in and joining us to kind of learn about SOTA.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
So why don't you guys talk a little bit about why did you start? So what's your backgrounds? We talked to you, were both COVID hams, I believe. That's when you started to get your license.
Yeah.
So what brought you to this great hobby?
I didn't have any formal electronics background, but I think like a lot of kids in the 80s, we had one or two guys on our street that had these weird looking antennas in their backyards with big, huge rotators.
Yeah.
And I went and knocked on the door, one day and got to meet this guy and took me into his ham shack. And he eventually ended up giving me a loaner radio just as a listening. It just kind of, but was immediately dissuaded at that age from the 5 word per minute code thing. I was like, oh boy, it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't ready for it. So anyway, fast forward, I had always wanted to get my amateur radio license. I had heard they had dropped the code requirement, but just never really had the time to pursue it. And then here, just in the last 5 years or so, I was out with a buddy of mine who I was stationed with mountain biking. He was telling me about this thing called Summits on the Air. And I thought, wow, that sounds right up my alley. So it's outdoor kind of stuff, going to the top of mountains and you take these little radios and communicate to people. And it was like, wow, I had no idea that there was anything like that. So that immediately was the impetus for technician, quickly followed by general and extra, and it's been a blast. To this day, I don't have a home QTH. I do a lot of practice online with CW and things like that. But it's been a blast. It's opened a lot of doors, and I've seen parts of the Northwest I never would have seen otherwise.
Yeah, that's
really
pretty cool. Tim, what about yourself? What got you started?
Yeah, similar entry in that it was a COVID hobby. Picked it up figuring it would be good to have in the outdoors because I was doing a lot of mountaineering and especially during COVID, solo hiking because we just didn't know what the right precautions were at the time. It kind of checked into a few nets, was like, okay, I might just leave this in my emergency kit. Like the earthquake kit and not really get into it. But I was on QRZ.com and I saw one of Charlie's videos, NJ7V, Red Summit RF. And the title of the video was something like, I rack up SOTA points while you're sleeping or something. And I was like, SOTA points? What's that?
Sounds like a challenge as well.
A picture of a sunrise up there and he's hiking up mountains, and then when he gets to the top, he does something with his radio, and it just clicked. And I went and did my first SOTA activation shortly after that, and it was just a slippery slope, and I was hooked. And now it's my whole personality.
The pictures that you guys post, I'll just say this, are much more picturesque than the things that I see from the POTA folks. There are some excellent POTA pictures, but the SOTA pictures are second to none, gentlemen. So I'll tell you, if nothing else, you're getting out there and seeing some really cool spots up on the top of all of these summits out there. I just looked up Red Summit RF too, and if anybody's listening out there, that's worth a look. It looks like he's out and about quite frequently doing SOTA activations and traveling as well. So very, very cool.
Yeah, and so kind of as James mentioned, really like the lightweight portable setups. And after getting skunked a couple times doing some 2-meter FM activations, starting to get out of the Portland metro area, then I realized I need to get my general license. And then after that, got the extra because it was COVID times and lots of free time on the hand to study.
Because why not? That's exactly what I did too. Yep.
Yeah. Then I don't have to worry about that pesky band plan, right?
Exactly.
See, maybe that's where I screwed up during COVID. Is I was busy studying for my real estate license. I should have been studying for my extra class license during COVID. That was my mistake. Now it's to be seen if I ever even do it.
Oh, you'll
get it eventually.
Yeah, you'll do it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
I will.
But yeah, at this point, I run a remote station from my QTH for the Cascadia Radio Discord. It's a inclusive ham community up in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm all about, let's be honest, this is kind of an expensive hobby to get into. So I'm really trying to increase accessibility to this. And we're a club that's not a club sort of thing, but I want people who don't have a QTH to be able to get on the air if they would like to.
It's really cool. Is it cascadiaradio.org? Am I looking at the correct site there?
Yeah, that's right.
Very cool.
And people outside the PNW can join as well. It's just kind of focused there.
Tell me a little bit about, I'm going to sidetrack this already, James. I'm so sorry.
Go right ahead.
You brought up remote radio. Talk a little bit about what you got set up for remote radio, because I'm always interested.
Yeah, so my QTH, the antenna is a fan dipole 10 through 40 meters, and that goes to IC, which has a very convenient USB port and sound card. So it runs right from that to a little mini PC that runs on 12 volts. And and that's kind of always on. As far as the software concerned, it's Windows 11, so it runs RC Forb, which unfortunately that excludes anyone on iOS or Apple because it is Android and Windows only at the moment, but it is free software, and I don't have a big budget to buy one of the other remote software options out there. But it's a way to get more people on the air, and to be a little selfish, when I'm out traveling and I see someone pop up on a SOTA summit, I can chase them from my phone. So that's a lot of fun too.
Very interesting. Yeah, I always, like I say, it's curious, and what an excellent opportunity, like you said, for folks that maybe don't know if they're ready to make a purchase like that yet, to get on the radio, to play with it a little bit and get to use it and see what they think. And also, like you said, it's accessible to you as well, self-servingly, when you want to grab a summit or something, or a POTA or whatever else you're doing. So very cool. Awesome to hear about that. Matt, you said you didn't have any radios at the QTH, so a lot of out on the mountain experience, it sounds like, as far as that's concerned. I guess I'm going to ask the hardware question to you as well. What is your current favorite rig to take out on your SOTA missions?
Oh, man. I just got the new version of the MTR3, the Kurigi version, and I love that. And so I didn't get in time when they were originally making the L&R Precision MTR radio. I don't have it handy. It's literally about this big. Deck of cards, 5 watts, CW. Tim's got his close by, it looks like. They're awesome little radios. And so for SOTA, where ultralight is everything, I've been using that quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, they're just amazing. So that's my current rig du jour, and it is cool. It's really awesome. That's just, it's a CW only radio, so obviously that eliminates the SSB opportunities there. I have a TX500, the Lab 599 CX500. I like that one quite a bit as well. And kind of like Tim was talking about there a minute ago, a lot of the ultralight, there's quite a following in SOTA for the ultralight do-it-yourself antennas and paddles and things like that. It's really neat. I would say probably more so than Parks on the Air. What little I know about Parks on the Air, because we're so weight and space conscious. We're always looking for the smallest next best thing, and there's been a lot of that, a lot of innovation. There's a couple of guys that are constantly coming up with new things in SOTA that are just really cool, and that's. That kind of has got me into, soldering and building things that I never imagined I'd be doing, out in the garage there, trying to solder stuff. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, to answer your question, and I've got a couple other radios. We've got a Elecraft Kicks and a couple of HTs
excellent.
that I use, but that, the biggest radio I have is pushing 10 watts. And that I would say is pretty standard for summits on the air for the most part. You see a lot of guys kind of in that 5 to 10 watt range.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. And we were talking about this as kind of show prep because, like you said, over on this side of the house here, it's all POTA, right? And we're often running 100 watts with the biggest and heaviest antenna we can drag out into the field.
Yep.
It's kind of lavish in comparison to SOTA. It sounds like,
it's like the glamping version of.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
there,
it is really. It sounds fun to hear like some equipment that hadn't even crossed my mind, because it wouldn't really be probably effective in a lot of the POTA parks, right? Given where you are, you get height, so you've got that extra might, as we always joke in ham, right? So 5 watts goes a lot further for you guys up on the summits.
All right, let's set a baseline real quick too of explain, because we're talking a lot about SOTA, and there are maybe some people out there that are not SOTA experts. I'm going to put myself in that camp. Kind of give us the elevator pitch of what is Summits on the Air.
Tim, you want to try it? You want to go first on that one?
I'm trying to think of something pithy, and I can't. So I'm just going to say it's all right. It's hiking uphill till you can't anymore, and then making radio contacts.
Okay.
How many do you need? How many contacts do you need for it to count as a? Do you call it activations?
Yeah, we call it activations as well. The people we're making contacts with, we call them chasers rather than hunters.
Hunters, yeah.
Same role. You need 4 QSOs. With different people. So if one person works you 4 times on 4 different bands, I don't think that counts. And okay. Matt, maybe if you know,
don't think it counts either.
There. Yeah, 4 different QSOs to get that. And to kind of go back to the low power thing, I think that also kind of feeds into why Morse code is so popular with the SOTA activators. It's because we're using these low power radios most of the time. And I know on the East Coast, there's a lot more density of hams, so you can get away with low power POTA. But I'll be honest, it's pretty challenging out here in the West. I've been skunked a few times doing POTAs with 5 watts and not being able to get those 10 contacts.
Wow. Okay.
What's the ratio of your HF versus, let's say, V8 UHF contacts?
Can I share my?
Pretty heavy. Yeah, go ahead. You can share your screen.
I don't know what. Here, I'll see if I can. But I will say, just while I'm bringing this up, the Oregon Summits on the Air campout will wildly skew those results.
Sure.
Because so this July was our 4th year doing the campout. We had 60 hams that took over this one campground for the weekend. And there's tons of summits nearby. So in the morning, everyone just sort of disperses out into the forest, up the mountains. And then it is just chaos on 2 meters. And everyone is getting summit to summit contacts. So I will have very skewed results just thanks to that one event, because there's just so much 2 meter activity in this one weekend. Otherwise, I'm... here in Central Oregon, we do have a ham club, but it's kind of hit or miss whether someone gets you on 2 meters when you're out.
It sounds very similar to the skewed statistics that happen around Cedar Creek State Park during Dayton Hamvention. That's what that sounds like to me.
All right, let me see if I can share this.
And Tim, while you're pulling it up, maybe Matt, can you explain to me too what is considered sort of you have to be on the summit, correct? Like within a certain distance of the peak.
You do, and it's, I'm not looking at the rules right now, but it's 25 meters or 82 feet roughly to be in the activation zone. And you want to spend some time looking at that. I've skunked myself a couple times setting up on what I thought was the actual activation zone and ended up not being in it and having a bad activation. So.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I think it's hard enough trying to find in parks on the air, like wild game areas or game lands.
Oh yeah, we're
constantly
discussing POTA park boundaries and what's legit and what's not. So if you're having to keep it within a certain distance of the peak, that adds definitely another layer of complication there.
Yeah.
All right.
looks like Tim maybe has the SOTLess. SOTLess, is that the SOTA Atlas pulled up here?
Yeah, that's right. This is kind of the preferred mapping website for summits on the air. And I just wanted to bring up real quick the activation zone that Matt was describing. So it's kind of a rough contour. I think this is based off of LiDAR data for this map here. But essentially, you want to be in this zone. And the reasoning behind it, this radio game started, I think, in Britain or Europe, but hill walking's very popular. And the idea was to give an area for the ham radio operator to move away from the crowds and not, disrupt anyone else's enjoyment on the summit. So it gives you this zone to kind of play in. But the idea is you got to be in this area for the activation to count.
Okay. And for the folks that are listening, there's a well-identified green area on the SOTA Atlas that we're looking at here visually, and that is the zone where folks are going to be targeting hiking into with their ultralight gear that Matt and Tim have both kind of alluded to thus far. So it is a far more challenging as far as that radio sport than POTA, right? Well, there are tough ones to get to in POTA, but it looks like for SOTA especially, none of these are things where you're going to drive up to the parking lot and be in the zone.
Well, that's not entirely true.
Okay, tell me.
So there are drive-up summits, and here, maybe I can just stop sharing.
I'm guessing like Tennessee, right, or North Carolina area, probably more than
here in Oregon. There's spots around. There's a lot of logging roads you can drive up, but the main rule is that your radio station can't be attached to your gas-powered vehicle in any way. Okay. So, you could drive up and walk 10, 15 feet away from your truck or sedan or Prius, whatever made it up that road. And then set up your station and operate off battery power.
I gotta call out both James and Rory. No ATOS 120s. Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to set up a real
we would be completely out. Both of us. James in his Jeep Wrangler and me in my Grand Cherokee wouldn't be running our ATOS. I am noticing. I'm looking at this mapping site, and it's funny you're talking about drive up sites. Not too far from you there, James. Looks like northwest of Oxford. There's a Mount Christie. Apparently, that's a thing, and it looks like a street will take you right there. So maybe it's not so hard. That is our closest SOTA spot in our metro area. It looks like. I didn't know that was a thing. So that's fascinating.
The other, if I can just go back a step, the other discriminator that we run into a lot, especially in the Northwest, I'm surrounded by a lot of logging country, is the property access, private property issue, and that is. I don't know. It may just be the area that we're in generally, but I find myself buying a lot of timber permits to access some of these areas. Going to the site that Rory's talking about, usually if it's been activated before, somebody will put a write-up that says, hey, there's private property, no trespassing signs. That is specifically talked about in the SOTA rules that's not a valid activation. So that can be a limiter. So you got to kind of do your reconnaissance. We're using some of the websites that you guys are looking at now, the one that Tim brought up a second ago. And you got to there are ways to get to like Gaia GPS or Onyx or things like that will tell you.
I was going to ask if Onyx was used because I've seen a lot of the folks going off-road using that.
I actually use Onyx pretty regularly for finding the park boundaries of like the game lands that I mentioned before that are sort of remote. It does a good job of you put your finger down and it tells you where you're at basically, or if it's private land.
Yeah, it definitely pays to spend the time at home before you leave the house, to if you can drive, 1 or 2 hours away to find out what the status is on the place you plan to activate.
So if you're going somewhere new that you've never been, maybe an area you're unfamiliar with in general, so you have SOTA Atlas that you look up, but what else are you doing to sort of see, like, let's say planning your mountain climb or your trek? Obviously safety becomes sort of a concern as well, especially for mountaineering. What does usually your process look like?
So I'll start with the SOTLess website. It's a great website because it has links to Gaia GPS. It'll allow you to link to CalTopo, which is another mapping software we use quite a bit. So it talks about, it'll show you those property issues for one, but also where are the roads? What's the path of least resistance to the summit? And I'll spend a decent amount of time, especially if it's an area where there may not be cell phone coverage, printing out some of those maps, kind of bringing some of that stuff with me. Onyx is another great one for things like that. And so I'll, look at that and kind of, okay, this is how I plan to approach it. Could there be a gate here? Is there any kind of a seasonal access issue, as there are sometimes with timberlands and things like that? And then the other part of the safety piece is, if I'm going to be out of cell phone range for an extended period of time, having some other kind of like a personal locating device, like a Garmin InReach or a PLB, something like that, is really handy. I do it just for peace of mind for my wife, so I can tell her, checking in every hour or so, hey, I'm leaving the truck, or I'm, starting my hike from there. So if I get injured, encounter, wildlife, something like that, there's a breadcrumb trail.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I'm assuming safety is first, right?
Absolutely.
In any of this?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. You want to be able to get down the mountain, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I am happy to report to Rory that Brockway Mountain definitely does qualify. So the next time you drive your Jeep up there, you'll be Brockway Mountain at the north end of Michigan is a very popular spot for folks to drive all the way up, and it's a really cool summit. And it would be a great place to set an antenna up. And I had no idea, but
I would have to get out of the car, though. That would be the hard part.
You wouldn't have to move
so
on the Michigan map. Where is this, Jim?
Brockway is going to be all the way up by Cobber Harbor, basically.
Up by the top of your upper thumb. All the way. Keep going.
Keep going further up.
Going. There you go.
And it's backwards on my screen, but you get the idea.
Yeah. So believe it or not, I mean, it's nothing compared, of course, to the Pacific Northwest. But when you get to the western end of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
we start to get some elevation.
There is a fair amount of topography up there. So the map here does have quite a few spots. And there's another interesting one that I had just zoomed in on while you were talking about that, Jim, and
I figured you were already
Mount Horace Greeley, which is I'd have to look at how that works with the private property, because that is technically private property. That's the old Air Force Base up there. But it's on the map, so I don't know. So if it's private property and you get permission, does that make it doable?
Yeah, absolutely.
It does. The problem you run into, I'll take an example. Around here, we have Indian reservations. And so that's something you have to kind of consider. And not all the tribes, the reservations have the same regulations. They don't have the same. Sure. Some are very exclusive members only. Some are very broad. There's another situation where if there's something that somebody can get to as a byproduct of work that other people can't get to, they may have an advantage there. And there's situations where someone's been activated 3 times by the same guy on successive years and by nobody else because he's an employee of, whoever owns the site.
Yep.
But
okay.
Yeah, and to touch on one more thing from the tools that Matt mentioned, especially in the case where there hasn't been an activation before and there's just not a lot of information. Peak Bagger, that website, there's a whole other community of people going up to summits, but they're not bringing radios. I don't know why, but
crazy people.
They will usually write up little trip reports, or at least they'll have like a tick list, so you can see like, okay, someone was up there a few weeks ago, or someone went up there last year, about around the same time. So you can there's other tools and reports that you can dig up and try to get some hints on the best way to get there. But we kind of have an unwritten rule in Oregon that if you're the first to activate a summit, you are required to write a trip report for it.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a good unwritten rule. That's a good courtesy to build, I think.
It builds that community, I imagine, too, right? You go read them. They're exciting for someone that hasn't or may not ever activate that particular summit, but you get a little bit of a story out of that experience, which is excellent. And it benefits the next guy when he heads up there, too.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's one of the differentiators right here, and we'll continue to pull these out as we go along with you guys. So on Parks in the Air, many of these can be done with very little preparation. In fact, oftentimes we'll throw all of our gear in the car, and it might be in the trunk. And we see a sign that looks like a national park or a state park, and boom, we swing in and we can activate. Right. What I'm hearing from you guys is a SOTA activation is a much more deliberate maneuver. Right. There's planning, there's preparation often, and there is a certain level of I need to commit to this idea of going and executing on this plan. So it really is cool to see some parallels, but also some of these differences that make SOTA a more challenging radio sport as far as that's concerned, but also perhaps more exciting for some folks that are of that mind.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I don't want to scare anyone away at the same time, because there's some metro area summits that You know, you can drive either all the way up or really close to, and walk up there with your HT, and then make your contacts and just, you know, play a little radio on your lunch break. So
nice. And it's 4 contacts, so it is less than you need for POTA.
Yeah.
So there's another differentiator there. It makes a bigger difference, of course, when you're out in the West where there's less radio activity, perhaps, in the general area. But yeah, that's a good point, too, is some of those might be fairly accessible for the folks around here in the metros.
Well, and I think the one thing I've heard, too, is you guys have noted you've had failed activations, and you've sort of laughed about them. So I think in the spirit of ham, get out there and don't be afraid to try it a little bit as long as you're prepared or find a club. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'll do a shameless self-promotion here. On my website, N7KOM.com, I have some Summits on the Air getting started instructions I kind of tried to make it as simple as possible for getting started.
Very cool.
So it's a breakdown of the rules and kind of a checklist to go out for your first activation without making it overly complicated. There's a lot more rules and nuance that you can learn about later, but this is just for people who want to give it a shot and get out there.
And if you're okay, I'll link that in the show notes afterwards as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Well, definitely. Sorry, I mean, I was definitely, if you had an opportunity to go with somebody who's done it before, I would definitely do that.
Good point.
And I would probably do the same thing with Parks on the Air. You know, just somebody who's actually, you know, has all the stuff, has all the equipment. You know, if you can just tag along and bring minimal gear and just see it, you know, be able to get on the air. It's a really cool thing. It's really neat, and that kind of emboldens you to get out and try it on your own. So I would definitely recommend that.
Matt, does that mean that you have not done POTA yourself? I'm sorry if you already said that.
I've done it a couple of times, and I think it was before you guys had did you guys go through a logging?
Was it end POTA days, like the previous like ARRL version of POTA that they did briefly before it got?
Couple of years ago, there was a thing different. I had to email some guy with my logs and say, "Hey,
the original POTA setup, you couldn't. The database wasn't set up to where you could log yourself. It's come a long way I'm laughing. If you guys saw me laughing over here, I found Tim's store with stickers, and there's a couple of good ones there. So I would definitely, just from my 2 seconds scrolling through that, plug the N7KOM.com and click on scroll down a hair and click on the ham radio stickers. I might have to go shopping tonight. There's some good ones there for sure.
Just trying to spread the fun with those.
Yeah, no, those are excellent. I like that.
And
so go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say one more difference between POTA and SOTA. So with POTA, the hunters don't need to upload a log to get points. It's all their points are generated from the activator log.
Correct.
It works a little different for SOTA. SOTA chasers do have to log their own activations.
Okay.
Yeah, or sorry, their own QSOs with the activators.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
It's really easy to do from the SOTA Watch website, which is where we post the spots of where the frequencies that we're operating on. There's a little button you click. So after you have your QSO, you can just go over there, click that, and log it. So it makes it really simple, but you do have to manually do it. It doesn't do it for you.
And I'll have to keep that in mind. I have not logged as a SOTA hunter.
Okay.
Good to know.
So you would have to take that chaser and log it on the SOTA site for that person to get there. Okay. Very good to know. That's
no. Sorry. The person, the activator gets points independent of that.
Oh, okay. But the chaser can get points for themselves.
I thought you were going to be picking up the
picking
up the radio and making some contacts. Yeah,
because
they aren't cross-referenced.
Okay, I feel better now. I was feeling bad there for a moment.
Rory was looking guilty there.
Because I'm a perpetual hunter of anything on the air. I'll gladly give anyone a QSO. So I'll answer a lot of calls, and I'm happy to have my POTA stuff populate and my calls and my numbers go up there automatically. But maybe I'll log into the SOTA thing and get that going. I hate to go back to the store here though, but there's a mug that will be purchased. Don't rag chew with me until I've had my cues.
God, that's made for you, Rory.
It's made for me. Does it say? No, go ahead. I'm all
SOTA oriented, so it says 4 QSOs, but I could make you a 10 QSO one if you want that.
And now
you can cross over into a whole new market.
I desperately need that, and that's a whole thing. Everyone knows that I don't don't screw around until I've had my activation. Give the call and move on. Don't be talking to me about your medication and how good the weather is until I'm good. Yeah, I didn't see that side of the mug. So, but yeah, I might need that. Sorry. Okay.
Hold off for now. I'll make you up something.
I digress.
I love it.
Oh
Thank you,
boy.
Tim. I was going to ask, you referenced the SOTA Watch website. Is that the main website?
Yeah, that would be where we post all the spots where we're operating and what mode.
Okay, and I'm assuming
I'll
if
drop it in
someone's
the
looking
chat here.
Okay, perfect. And I'm assuming if someone's looking to get started, they should go there, create an account, do all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't use that too much because I usually do it via the app. So there's a SOTA Goat app.
Oh.
Going to try to. SOTA has so many cool websites and applications, but somebody came up with a SOTA Goat app that allows you to actually post spots or see where other people's spots are. So kind of like
that's cool.
Parks on the Air, similar. If I was looking to do a park to park, I could go onto the Parks on the Air website and see where somebody is on this frequency and go to their frequency and get a park to park with them. Same principle with Summits on the Air, summit to summit, S2S contacts, more points. So I get the points from their activation. So it's a separate kind of points. It's a summit to summit exclusive point, but they're really neat. They're kind of fun to do. So there are ways to. So anyway, to kind of go back to post a spot, that'd be one way to do it. The other thing we have, I think, is similar to POTA. Is you guys have RBN? If I post an alert, RBN will pick it up. So for CW,
we do. We have
that.
We have a couple apps that will do that for us. I was going to ask, how, when you're on the mountain, do you spot yourselves? I'm assuming you maybe pre-schedule your activation as one method, but we do. Yeah, I think we actually almost use the same app. Let me.
But yeah, the RBN, the reverse beacon network does pick up the SOTA. I'm sorry, the POTA spots for
SOTA
sure.
Matt, which is probably an app you may be familiar with. I've used that before to use the RBN to spot myself in a park out in Colorado, actually, where I didn't have a lot of cellular coverage while doing a park activation.
You can also do it via APRS, which I've done, and there's a way to do it via the inReach. If you send an inReach message to a specific number, it'll do that as well.
And text message also. I use that a lot where maybe I'm out somewhere and I don't have data, but I have regular cellular messaging, and then you can send a text message and get spotted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
so
then,
I'm a little bit curious.
SOTA Mat, of course, you can use that to send FT8.
Yep.
Well, if you have a radio that will hook up to your phone or SSB where you just hold down the mic manually, it'll send that FT8 and actually post a spot for you.
Yeah, that's a fair point, because I'm mainly an SSB operator. So yeah, I remember sitting there and holding the phone, and then some lady was looking at me about why was I playing weird beeps and boops into this this microphone sitting at a picnic table. But you do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's a great method.
All right, gentlemen. So SOTA takes us on some pretty sweet adventures, obviously. We're hearing more of that the further we peel the onion here. Tell us, I'd love to hear one from each of you guys. Talk about one of your favorite ones that you went out, why it was, what made it a challenge, why you loved that particular one, why it sticks in your head. I'd love to hear maybe Matt first, and then Tim, give us one that you really enjoyed going out and doing, and tell us a little why.
I would have to say it's probably my mountain goat activation here in January of this year. Went out with the same guy that introduced me to Summits on the Air. Went and snowshoed up Mount Spokane, which is an active ski resort on one side, but allows people to snowshoe to the top, get up there to the activation zone. It was a little bit cold. We're on kind of the western slope. So there was some wind chill kind of thing. When you're trying to do CW with gloves that won't do CW, kind of
right.
So you kind of lose tactile feel, and people can get frustrated with your really bad code after a while. Anyway, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. Something that it took me almost 5 years to get Mountain Goat. It was a journey. It's been a blast, and it was kind of the culmination of all of that experience and learning and building and everything that goes with it. It was really neat. It was an awesome experience.
I got two questions for you. Tell us what it takes to be a mountain goat, because I don't think we know yet. And then also, I'd love to know how long it took you to get there on snowshoes.
So Mountain Goat is 1,000 activator points. There's also a trophy for Shack Sloth, which is the reverse for the chasers. It's 1,000 chaser points. And so let's go back a step. Different summits have a different point value. So the smallest summits in my area are 2 points. There are summits that are even down to 1 point. It's based on elevation, not how long it takes you to get there, not how many miles, not how many. It's just purely based on elevation. And it goes all the way up. There are actually 10-point summits. And then there are summer bonuses and winter bonuses in different regions. So we have a winter bonus here that goes from December 1st through March 31st in the W7W region. I think Oregon's probably the same. And then places like Arizona have a summer bonus. So that'll take a 10-point summit and make it a 13-point summit. So you can get to Mountain Goat faster by, trying to activate in those peak seasons. So yeah, once you get those 4 QSOs, you go home and log it and you get the points, and you can pretty quickly in places like Arizona and some other places, you can get to Mountain Goat very quickly. It took a while. Like I said, I think it took about 4.5 years here. Of course, there's,
it took me 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes a while.
Yeah.
And then the snowshoe was
impressive.
short. Snowshoe was like, I think it was 2 miles. So it was, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
15, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. But
only 2 miles up the side of a mountain, but
Yeah.
Are we talking about traditional like big net snowshoes, or are we talking about the new ones that are just like a vinyl plank with the pivot and the whole 9 yards, real high tech ones?
Probably closer to the second one, yeah. It was,
yeah. Some of the newer style. I've used both up here in Gaylord, which used to get quite a bit of snow. Michigan doesn't quite see the same snowfall as it used to in the mid-90s. We used to snowshoe quite a bit, so I'm always curious when people say I snowshoed out there. How long did that take you? If you have the right gear, probably less time, but very cool. And I do want to call it out because Matt pointed out something that I didn't quite understand, and it sort of just clicked now. On Mount Spokane, for example, it is 6 points generally, but you add a +3 during the harder months, which is the December through March that Matt mentions.
Right.
That turns into a 9-point summit.
There's even a tradition that has kind of caught on here in the Northwest where guys would go out on December 1st, and it's based on Zulu Day. So they go out and make sure they get the contacts for the points before midnight Z, and then wait around for 15, 20 minutes. So the same guys will call you again right away and go, hey, I want, So that's
get your double points.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That brings up a good point about the points in Summits on the Air, this rule that we didn't cover. So you can activate a summit as many times as you want in a given year, but you only get points for the first time you do it.
Oh.
So if I, like my local summit here, I've already activated Lava Butte. I can go up there again, play radio, have a lot of fun, but I won't get any more points for it until that UTC rollover in January.
Okay, so it's a full year that those points are applied for. Wow.
That makes it make a lot more sense that it took 4 years for you guys to get to that. I'm still looking at this silly map. I'm so distracted. This is all new to me. And when I find something new, I'm always looking like a crazy person. So we in Mount Arvon up outside of Lance up in the UP there is an 8-pointer with 3 more in the winter. So that's not bad.
11.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That one's, I know someone who lives near there. I wonder if she knows about SOTA. She's a ham too. She lives actually just down the side of that mountain. So I might have to send her a message.
I have one last question for Matt on his adventure out there. Matt, is this one that you did solo, or did you take a buddy on this one?
I took a buddy, Evan MCB. His name's also Matt. He was in the military with me. We flew together. So he was the guy that got me into SOTA. We went out there and did it. It was cool. I think he's been on quite a few of the SOTA activations here with me. So yeah, it's a good time. It's always more fun with somebody else. And in fact, he actually recorded it. I got a little video of it. It's pretty neat.
Oh, you'll have to share it with us if you don't mind.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
If you send it to James, maybe we can get it cut in here.
Okay.
We still have some time.
There we go. The power of editing.
There we go.
That's interesting. That's something else I noticed. Like the three of us tend to do POTA solo. We tend to prefer to POTA solo. But I could see where at SOTA you would necessarily want to do that in some cases. And in most cases, I think some of the more difficult ones you might want to have someone along, or just to make it a little more fun, or in your case to take some video. But which do you prefer? Some solo trips or trips with friends, or are they both have their pluses and minuses, I'd imagine?
They both have their pluses and minuses.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely the solitude around here is great to be able to get out there on a weekday and everybody else is at work and climb a mountain that nobody's activated before and be up there for an hour and a half by yourself is pretty awesome too. So a little bit of both.
I love it.
Yeah, and when you're out with a couple other people, there's a few different strategies to operate. You can all kind of spread out in the activation zone and just sort of, hey, I'm on 40 meters. All right, I'm on 20. And just sort of, switch bands, try not to interfere too bad with each other. Or you can just set up one radio, one antenna, and swap off. And I think that's my favorite way to go, especially because you're both right there. So if there's a summit-to-summit calling, you can call AS, or on Morse code, which means standby, and then your buddy can get the same summit-to-summit right there. And, if you're doing SSB, stand by for one more operator, and just pass the microphone around, and that's a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Tim,
all right, Tim, tell me about yours. Yeah.
Yeah, I could, a few come to mind. I think I'll mirror Matt here and say the mountain goat activation, because it was at the Oregon Summits on the Air campout, and we started hiking, I think, at 4 a.m. To get up Mount McLaughlin in southern Oregon. We have a lot of volcanoes in Oregon, so this is going to be a theme in this. But we had a few different operators up there, and it was just a blast to do one of those early morning sunrise hikes up a big mountain, and then work a ton of people at the camp out on 2 meters FM, 2 meters CW, and then we were doing 10 meters and a few other bands as well. And the surprise for me was on my fourth contact, where I got the points and got over the goat threshold. Nathan N7NWT busted out some toy like goat ears and popped them on my head, ears and horns. Nice. So I wore that for the rest of the activation. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. I always appreciate the hams getting together and kind of all being nerds together and enjoying it together, because it's hard to have somebody that's not doing this thing that we call radio sport to understand why it is important to us, right? And why it is so cool for us when those types of things happen. So it's fun to be surrounded by folks that understand a little bit. Nice and activation there.
Another one was from this year, and kind of Shenanigans is the name of the camp out. Like, we were doing 70 centimeter SSTV, 2 meter CW. Nice. Just like if you have a Quansheng, we were doing a lot of stuff with those. But Adam K6ARK, who you probably know that name, he brought his Vibroblex bug up on a first activation climb. So there's 3 of us up there, and he was doing 2 meter CW with a Vibroblex. And
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I have one question too, which is more personal related, but you both being newer hams, much like myself, I wanted to try to make learning CW sort of a thing for me this winter, because I'm going to be stuck inside a little bit. How did you guys learn CW so quickly? What tools did you use? I'm going to detour a little off SOTA for a second.
I think I've run the gamut. Started with LCWO, Learn CW Online, which has a bunch of drills. There are quite a few websites that'll set up drills or activators or chasers, call signs for you to catch. The issue I ran into with that pretty quickly is there's not a lot else other than just the RST exchange and the call sign. It's pretty limited. It's kind of scripted. So there's a website called VBand. If you guys are familiar, Ham Radio Solutions has a website that allows you to go on with a key and a little adapter that they sell and go on there and actually have CW QSOs. And for my situation without an actual ham shack here at the house, that works out great. And actually take it on business trips. I have the adapter in my bag and just sit there in the hotel room and can have, QSOs with people anywhere in the world over the internet and just practice that, learning and listening and sending. So that was probably the one that was kind of recently has been the catalyst and has helped me get better.
Okay. E-band is very interesting. I've just looked that up, and the little USB dongle to allow for practice that way seems very smart. I will ask this question. I do have a straight key next to me. What do you guys use? Is it straight, or do you use the? What's your preference here?
I use a paddle.
Do you? Yeah. Okay. Paddle for sure. Tim, you're nodding. I assume that means
so.
You too.
I use a paddle, but I'm learning straight key, and this was a project that I wrapped up last weekend. But I got a Navy flameproof key. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
I'm not, but if you have it, Yep.
But
okay.
I didn't like the black. It was kind of boring, so I went all Jackson Pollock on it and did a cool paint job.
That's
It is-
awesome.
it is very.
That is
I would
awesome.
almost call it like an '80s style splatter paint kind of thing. Yellow base and then blacks and blue. And did I see pink in there, or is that?
Yeah,
red?
yeah. We got pink, blue, some like real dark navy purple kind of.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Fun with my stuff.
Turned it up on the straight key, and I love it. Anything to make it fun, right, guys?
Yeah.
I think,
So
Jim, you've struggled to bang away at the straight key there. You don't do so. I think you got to get a paddle in there. I think you'd be better.
I do need to get one. I ended up buying the Zygu straight key, and it's a nice key as far as that's concerned. But I didn't know what I wanted, and I thought that might be a little simpler to start on. I don't know if I made the right call. It doesn't matter. I like getting equipment, so I might have to get something more.
So what really helped me, like I started with that same website that Matt talked about, and the drills on that weren't really taken for me.
Okay.
And what I found really helped was joining, what I ended up doing was CW Ops has a free course. So
I've seen that one too.
They put you in a cohort with 4 or 5 other people, and you meet twice a week. And just having the peer pressure.
Yeah,
that accountability.
I don't want to fall behind my classmates.
Yep.
Really helped a lot just for making sure I was practicing every single day and working on that instant character recognition.
In the effort of trying to practice, I did buy a CWMorris.us.
Everybody's
paddle
showing
key.
their keys off.
Yeah.
Everybody's showing their keys
But
off.
I feel bad. Like a bad ham. I see it sitting here in front of me all the time. And I keep telling myself, I need to learn. I need
to get this out and use it.
Well, I mean, you bought it, and my wife's going to start asking questions about why have you never used that thing that you bought. So, better late than never, I suppose.
This is a good example of a SOTA key. So this is the K6ARK 3D printed one.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out at a buddy's house yesterday. We had a little assembly line going. I think we cranked out 6 or 8 in an hour. Just having a soldering station. I mean, this thing weighs, I don't know what, Tim probably knows what it weighs. It's nothing.
Like 2 ounces max, not even.
So this is great because, if I 3D print this thing and solder it and, all of a sudden it stops working, I could take 3 spares in my kit and I'm covered.
Well, I was going to ask, how much equipment, are you worried about not having backup or redundancy? I'm assuming you take backup keys, like you said.
Oh, here we go.
I take a couple of antennas, I take a couple of batteries, because everything's so small. I usually take just one primary radio, but a couple of paddles, a couple of antennas, a couple of batteries. Still weighs.
And I'm assuming, we didn't even talk about antennas really. I'm assuming you're using wire antennas mainly, probably on some sort of lightweight mast or?
Yeah. Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, NFEDs and maybe some
NFEDs.
dipoles.
Yeah, I think most guys are using NFEDs or dipoles of some kind.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm using NFED half wave with my MTR. Actually, so what I've been showing at the screen is my entire kit, including battery. So in this thing is also my entire antenna. It's a trapped NFED half wave.
Oh, okay.
And then with him showing us a little nylon case. It's very small. You could probably stick it in the back pocket of a large pair of jeans.
Yeah. And on my KX2, I use a NFED random wire.
Okay.
But it's still a very, very lightweight antenna, but gives you lots of all the bands. Gives you all the bands.
KX2 has built-in tuner?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Not familiar with that hardware, but yep. Okay.
And the KX2 has a built-in battery too, right? Am I making that up?
You can unplug it. I take it out to charge it, but yeah, it's all contained within the case.
Okay.
And
does anybody have, I have to ask this question because I just find it to be extremely novel, Elecraft's KH1. Does anybody have one of those?
There.
Matt's
Nice
got
work,
it down
Matt.
in his lap. He's ready to show. Okay. Very cool radio. Every time I see somebody running one of those, I'm always very
I'm jealous.
impressed.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous,
Me too.
actually.
yeah, I got one of those too.
Nice.
Matt, you're muted. Go ahead and unmute. Let us know what you had there.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was going to say for business trips, this thing is money because the
Awesome.
case goes down the side of my roll-on bag and it just takes up zero room. It's awesome. So
yeah,
it's one of those things that you can slide in just about any piece of luggage, right, and take it with you, and not many questions until you get there, and then you're dragging a little counterpoise wire behind you while you're walking along Ascended CW.
Yeah,
we have a gentleman that runs one of those in the local park here in the South Lyon area.
Yep.
His name is Ram, and he walks around with his motorcycle suit on. He motorcycles, so he uses that as his light kit, and he does CW while he's walking around the park with a little telescoping antenna. So I'm always entertained when I see him activating.
I have never seen him there. For as many times as I've heard of people running into him there, I've never seen him out there. Yeah, and I've been in the park. I've been in the park the same time as he has before too.
KE8UEX, I believe, is his call sign.
Sounds right.
You always see him. So I guess we're running out of time here. I want to give Matt and Tim one last chance. Is there anything about SOTA, if you're going to talk to the three of us to get us motivated to get out there and climb some mountains, what would you say?
The one thing I would just leave you with is don't let the getting outdoors and getting up on a mountain be a discriminator. There are drive up summits. There are really easy summits out there. There are urban summits you can go do. And even if all of those are not in the range of possibilities based on your location, chasing is also huge. I mean, so there is no SOTA without chasers. So we absolutely need those chasers. It's a lot of fun. It's just a blast to be able to talk to somebody on a little 5-watt radio via CW, multiple states away. We get France. Tim will tell you about France. We get France almost on a daily basis. We get Japan pretty regularly. We get some other countries. It's a blast. It is really neat to be able to communicate with somebody like that. And I would recommend it for anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would really just echo Matt. And, we post videos to YouTube of these like epic summits where we're hiking all night and climbing up mountains, but that's not representative of the entire sport. So you can do these drive up and easy ones. And, I recommend connecting with someone to take you out for your first time if you can.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank Matt for taking some time. He actually emailed us just about 2 weeks ago now, and he said, "Hey, I know you guys don't do much SOTA over that way, but there's a large population of hams on the West Coast that enjoy doing SOTA, and we'd love to chat with you about it." And so I want to appreciate Matt for reaching out to us and suggesting it and putting it on our radar, right? Because comparing these two very prevalent radio sports, just because the geographies are different here, has been really fun to hear kind of why folks are doing it, how to do it, and try to get us motivated. I think that it's probably likely that all three of us will have to go out and activate a summit the next time we're up north.
We'll send you. Yeah, we'll let you know when we're
let us know
for sure. Yeah.
I'll get y'all's call sign in my ham alert, so I'll be looking for you. Watch out.
I can also say, Matt, thank you also from my side, because I was excited to get that email. And I remember emailing Jim and Rory, like, hey, guys want to talk about SOTA? It sounds pretty exciting, and it's something I have no experience in. And then you were like, I'm going to also try to bring a friend. I was like, all right, let's do this. So thank you also, Tim,
for joining Matt,
for taking the time to
absolutely. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
And so, Tim, we'll make sure to link your website as well. Thank you, Matt. I'm not sure, is there anywhere we can link for you that people maybe learn more about you?
My QRZ page, I don't really have one, but
put him in your ham alert. Put him in your ham alert.
There you go, Tim.
Look for Matt when he's on the summit. That's where he'll appreciate you the most.
Definitely.
So with that, last plug for the Everyday Ham as well. You can go to everydayham.com, learn about our socials, our links to the YouTube, our audio links for the podcast. Like and subscribe as always. And with that, everyone, 73. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
73.
Ham smarter.
Yeah.
That's it for today's Everyday Ham. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep enjoying the hobby.